Hi, my name is Nicole Branier. This is my practicum video for my Vinyasa class, and this is the note sheet that I will be using. All right, let's get started. Welcome to your Creative Vinyasa class. In today's class, we will be focusing on our inner fire as we build up heat and work our way up to wheel pose. To start today's class, please come to a comfortable seat, perhaps easy sit with crossed legs if that's comfortable, and you are welcome to put a block, a bolster, or a blanket underneath the sit bones because we will be starting with some pranayama. As you sit here, come to your natural breath. Focus in on where you are in your body today. And I will lead us through a demo for Breath of Fire, and then we will do a few rounds together to start class. So for Breath of Fire, it is important to remember to sit up tall, and that the inhale and the exhale will be about equal in length. So the exhale will be more powerful and intentional, breathing out through the nose like you're blowing into a tissue, and the inhale will become passive. So again, I will go ahead and demo that, and then we'll do a few rounds together. So to start, sitting up tall, bringing my hands to Gyan Mudra, but you're welcome to also bring a hand to the belly lightly to feel the contraction of your exhales. Starting in Gyan Mudra, breathing in, exhale, grounding down through the sit bones. Inhale through the nose to start, and beginning. Inhale. Hold at the top for 10 seconds. Exhale it out. So we'll go through that together for 3 rounds. And please note that, again, everyone will go at a different pace, but creating equal inhales and exhales. If you get lost or off of your rhythm, please just take another inhale and begin again, and then we will meet after the 30 seconds. Inhale, sit nice and tall, ground down through the sit bones. Exhale to go. Inhale big for the first round through the nose, and going at your own pace, begin. Inhale, hold, exhale the breath, inhale deeply through the nose for the next round, and begin. Inhale, hold, exhale the breath, inhale for the last round. At your own pace, begin. Inhale. Hold at the top. Exhale everything out. Hope you're beginning to feel warmed up and feel the core start to ignite. As you return to your natural breath, please roll over onto shins. Tucking the toes to come into fire toes. Tuck all 10 toes and sit back on your heels, sitting up nice and tall, firming through the outer hips by squeezing the glutes. If you'd like to, you're welcome to sit up on a block. Lengthen the tailbone and lift the pubic bone. Bring the hands to the low ribs. Take a big inhale through the nose and a powerful exhale through the mouth. Feel the ribs melt towards each other. Bring the arms out in front of you, palms face forward. We're going to be getting into some wrist warm-ups here. So we'll say hello towards the front of the room. Flip the palms out and downwards. How are you? Flip them up. Come on in and down. Let's get down. So going through this a few more times, making sure to not lock out through the elbows, but instead keep a micro bend and moving from the wrists. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Speed run. Hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's get down. Okay, lift them all the way up. And again, check in with your pelvis. Lengthen the tailbone. Lift the pubic bone. Squeeze the glutes to firm through the outer hips. Take a big inhale. Exhale, melting the ribs towards each other. Now we're going to get into some flashlight drills. So open up the palms really wide, extend the fingers, and then close the fist all the way. Extend out all the way, close. Open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. Going faster and faster, opening and closing. Extending the fingers all the way when you open, closing the fist all the way when you close. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Keep going, you got it. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Open, close, open, close. Stop, but keep the arms up. Now we're going to do some mini high fives. So extend the fingers all the way, and then keeping the fingers extended, press the palms of your hands towards the front of your mat. It'll be a very, very tiny motion. Little baby high fives. Like you could just push something in front of you with the palm of your hand. Keep going like this. Very good. Pushing through the big mounds of the fingers where they meet the palms. And lower the arms. Resist the urge to shake the wrist and pat out the toes lightly on the mat. If you need a little stretch, you can roll your wrists. And we will get into some shoulder flossing. So please grab the strap that you have next to your mat. Unravel it. And because we are moving into wheel pose today, we will be having massive overhead flexion with the arms. And so we are going to be working on opening up the shoulders and getting them warmed up and loosening up the shoulder joint. Again, lengthen the tailbone here, lifting the pubic bone, sitting up nice and tall. Take the strap and pull it apart, having the arms around shoulder distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And from here, we're going to be lifting the strap up above our head without letting the ribs flare out and the pelvis tilt forward. So sitting up in one tall line. Bring the strap back down. Inhale, raise it up overhead. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, come up once again. Exhale, come down. Now slide your hands slightly further out on the strap, enough so that you can reach the strap back behind you. You will find out shortly if you need to move your hands a little bit wider. Again, without letting the ribs come out and the pelvis tilt forward, sitting up nice and straight, lengthening the tailbone. And if you need more room because you feel like the ribs are splaying out, then simply widen your hands more on the strap. Inhale the strap up and overhead, coming all the way back, moving from the shoulder joint. Inhale, bring it back over. Moving with your breath. Keeping a micro bend in the elbow as you pull away on the strap. Check in with your pelvis and your rib cage position. Okay, when you come forward, place your strap off to the side and come into a tabletop position, spreading the fingertips wide, placing the hands under the shoulders, the knees under the hips, with a long, flat back. Press down through the inner edges of the hands and grip the mat with your fingertips. Inhale, pull the heart through the biceps as you flick the tailbone up, gazing in the direction of the sternum. Exhale, grip the mat, push the ground away, push the shins into the mat as you round through the back and gaze between your legs. Inhale, navel comes to spine as you lift the tailbone, lift the sternum, pulling the chest through the heart, or pulling the chest through the arms rather. Exhale, round the back, push the ground away, cat. Inhale, gazing in the direction of the sternum, lifting the tailbone out towards the sky. One more time, exhale, back towards cat. Inhale, sending the heart through. Come to a neutral tabletop. Walk the hands out, one handprint in front of where they just were, keeping the fingertips spread wide. And inhale, coming forward, bending through the arms, press the pubic bone down into the mat, press the tops of the feet into the mat, gaze in the direction of the sternum as you pull it through the heart. As you pull it through the arms. Exhale, push the ground away, reach the sit bones towards the heels, child's pose. Inhale, coming forward, pulling the heart through the bicep, press the pubic bone down into the mat. Exhale, pushing the ground away, send the hips towards the heels. Inhale, come back up to a neutral tabletop, leaving the hands one handprint in front of you, and tuck the toes, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Pedal out the legs for a minute here. Start to feel into the legs. And now bend deeply into the legs, pressing the chest back towards the thighs as you allow the chest to open up towards the ground. Keeping the fingertips spread wide and pressing down through the inner edges of the hands. Come to the height of the toes and melt the heels down towards the ground. Come into a stationary down dog. Lift the right leg high and open up the hip, bend through the knee, and take a few hip circles here. Moving in one direction and the other. Plant the right foot, inhale, lift the left leg high. Keeping the weight evenly distributed in the hands, bend the left knee, open up the hip, take a few hip circles on this side. And go in the other direction. Plant the left foot, come to the height of the toes, gaze between the hands, and begin to walk forward, taking baby steps towards the hands. When you come towards the top of the mat, let yourself hang in a ragdoll for a moment and slowly drip your way up to a stand. Coming to the top of the mat in Tadasana Mountain Pose, face the palms forward. Bring the feet feet to about hip width distance apart. Stacking knees over ankles, hips over knees, shoulders over hips. Crown of the head points towards the sky. We're going to talk about setting the pelvis for a moment. So when I say set the pelvis, that will mean lengthening the tailbone and lifting the pubic bone. So take one hand to your low back and one to your low belly. Take an inhale. Exhale, lengthen the tailbone, lift the pubic bone slightly, draw the navel or the belly button in and up. Now take your hands to the low ribs. We've done this once before. Take a big inhale. Exhale, powerful through the mouth. Feel the ribs melt in towards each other. So later in class, when I say set the pelvis, this is what I'll be referring to. It's the lengthening of the tailbone and the melting of the ribs together to create one long line. So coming back into our Tadasana Mountain Pose with palms face forward. Inhale here. Exhale to ground down through the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky and take a mini back bend towards where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to the shins, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to a high plank pose. Inhale, drop the knees. And as you exhale, engage the core, tilt the body forward, flick the tailbone up, and lower the chest in between or slightly in front of the hands, lowering the chin last to open up the throat. Lower all the way down. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. And inhale, peel the sternum off the ground, pressing the pubic bone, the tops of the feet into the ground for baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Hover the hands where they just were, about 1 millimeter above the mat, and inhale, peel the sternum off of the floor for a hovering baby cobra, using the back muscles and squeezing the glutes to lift yourself up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press yourself back to a child's pose. And drip your way up to a shin stand, lifting the hips. Bring the hands to the sacrum, either fingertips pointing up or down. Take a big inhale, lifting the ribs and leaning back slightly, squeezing the glutes and gazing in the direction of the sternum. Place the hands down in front of you, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Inhale to the height of the toes, look forward. Exhale, bend the knees, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, upward salute, reaching towards the sky. Mini back bend. Exhale, palms through heart center, coming to stand in Tadasana Mountain Pose. We will go through that one more time using slightly less engagement, but still moving through with keeping active glutes and core and moving through this in a more dynamic movement style fashion. So going through it a little faster now. Coming to mountain pose, take a big inhale. Exhale, ground down. Inhale, raise the arms to the sky and take a mini back bend towards where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bring the hands to the shins with a flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to high plank pose. Inhale, drop the knees, and as you exhale, engage the core, tilt forward and touch knees, chest, chin down to the ground, lowering all the way down. Place the hands under the shoulders and inhale, peeling up to baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Lift the hands, hover them 1 millimeter above the mat, and inhale, taking a hovering baby cobra. Exhale, drop it down and push the hips back to downward facing, back to child's pose. Inhale, drip up to the shins, hands to the lower back, baby camel pose. Exhale, plant the hands in front of you, send the hips up and back, tucking the toes for downward facing dog. Inhale, gazing between the hands and coming to the height of the toes. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise the arms towards the sky, mini back bend. And exhale to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana. Great. We will move on to our next flow. And before we get into it, I will explain bend 1 and bend 2. So inhale, bring the arms to cactus. Set the pelvis. Inhale, giving yourself a slight double chin and drawing the shoulder blades towards one another. This is bend 1. Exhale, keeping the shoulder blades squeezing towards one another, drag them slightly down the back body. Remember to set the pelvis, melt the ribs towards one another, creating a bend higher up in the back. Exhale, let it go, coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale in your mountain pose, exhale to ground down. Inhale, send the weight towards the heels, coming to chair pose, cactus arms, bend 1 and bend 2. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, tilt forward, flick the tailbone up, touch chest down to the mat, and then chin, lowering all the way down. Tent the fingertips outside of your mat and point the elbow tips up towards the sky. Inhale, peel the sternum off of the floor, head comes up, blast. Gaze in the direction of your sternum, press the pubic bone down into the mat. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, peel the sternum off of the mat, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Head comes up, blast. Exhale, lower down. One more time like this. Inhale, peel the sternum off of the floor. Gaze in the direction of the sternum. Exhale, lower down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, step it up between the hands. Bring the feet on train tracks. Magnetize the front heel towards the left hip, tugging the right hip back slightly in space. Inhale, come all the way up, cactus arms, bend 1 and bend 2. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back, high plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, lower down, knees, chest, chin. Lower all the way down. Tent the fingertips, pop the elbow tips up towards the sky, creating a 90-degree angle. Inhale, press the pubic bone down into the mat. Peel the sternum up, bend the forehead. Exhale, wave it down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg high. Exhale, step it up between the hands. Line the feet up on train tracks, pulling the left hip back slightly in space to keep the hips aligned. Inhale, rise all the way up, cactus arms, bend 1 and bend 2. Plant the hands down, step back to plank pose. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, bending the elbows, tilting forward, knees, chest, chin, touch down, and lower all the way. Tent the fingertips, pop the elbow tips up. Inhale, head comes up last, peeling all the way up. And exhale, peel yourself down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, come to downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze in between the hands, come to the height of the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, step forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, send the weight to the heels, chair pose, cactus arms. Bend 1, bend 2. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll run through that one more time, going slightly faster this time. Again, not using our full engagement, using about 50% engagement and more of this dynamic movement style to warm up and create a little more fluidity. So, come to Tadasana, mountain pose, palm palms face forward, stacking ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders. Inhale big. Exhale, ground down through the feet. Inhale, send the weight towards the heels, chair pose, cactus arms. Bend one and bend two. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Inhale, drop the knees, and exhale, lower knees, chest, chin to the ground. Lower all the way down. Tent the fingertips outside the mat, pop the elbow tips up. Inhale, peel up for funky cobra, pressing the pubic bone down. Exhale, drop down. Inhale, peel up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, one more time, come up, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, bring it down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg high, keeping the hip bones squared down towards the mat. Exhale, step it up between the hands. Align the feet on train tracks. Magnetize the front heel towards the left hip. And inhale, come all the way up, cactus arms. Bend one and bend two. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, lowering to knees, chest, chin, and then lowering all the way down. Tent the fingertips, point the elbow tips up towards the sky. Inhale, peel the sternum up, funky cobra. Exhale, come down, plant the hands, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg high. Exhale, step it up between the hands. Align the feet on train tracks. Ground down through the front foot. And inhale, come all the way up, cactus arms. Bend one and bend two. Realign the pelvis here. Tucking the tailbone and lifting the pubic bone. Plant the hands, step back, high plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, bend the elbows, lowering down to knees, chest, chin. Unfold all the way. Tent the fingertips, pop the elbow tips up. Inhale, peeling up, funky cobra. Exhale, coming down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Press down through the inner edges of your hand and spread the fingertips wide. Inhale, gazing between the hands, coming to the height of the toes. Exhale, step forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, sending the weight towards the heels, coming to chair pose, cactus arms. Bend one and bend two. Exhale, mountain pose, let it go. I hope we're starting to feel fired up and warm. Moving on from here, we're going to do a fun flow that we'll go through one time and we'll do it all together. There'll be a few different options, but you may want a blanket under your knees, so if that's something that you know you like when you're in a low lunge kind of position, then you may want to place that there now. Once again, come to the top of the mat, meeting in Tadasana, mountain pose. Feet about hips distance apart or slightly wider if you know that that is more comfortable for you. Inhale through the nose. Exhale like you're blowing out a candle. Inhale, send the weight towards the heels, cactus the arms, chair pose. Bend one and bend two. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, tilt forward, bring knees, chest, chin to the ground, and unfolding down to the ground. Tent the fingertips, pop the elbow tips, and inhale, coming up, funky cobra, peeling the sternum up. Exhale, peel your way down, plant the hands, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. We're going to be moving in through a side plank here. So if you choose so, you may do side plank on your knees from a tabletop variation. If that's something you prefer, please go ahead and drop down to your knees now. Whether you're in tabletop or downward facing dog, begin to lift the right leg, curl the heel in towards your sit bone, and open up the hip towards the right side of your mat. Now, if you're in downward facing dog, come to the height of your left toes, spiral the heel back and down so that your toes are facing the right side of the mat, or if you're on shins, kickstand the left shin coming out perpendicular to your mat to give you more balance. Push down through the left hand, tent the right fingertips, and scoop the left shoulder blade onto the back body. Continue to reach the heel towards the sit bones as you lift the hips and lengthen the tailbone, maybe opening up so much so that you can lift the left or the right arm above your head. Gaze down at your left hand and then step your right foot behind your left leg, allowing the legs or feet to spiral open how they need to in order to spiral your chest towards the ceiling. Lift the hips high for Wild Thing. And as you come out, gaze back down towards your left hand, pull your right heel back in towards your sit bones, tent the right fingertips, and begin to close off the hips, stepping the right foot all the way up to the outside of your right hand, dropping the back knee and coming into lizard pose. Take a moment in lizard pose to stretch out through the left hip flexor, maybe coming to fists or up onto blocks if that's more comfortable. Inhale, coming up onto the right knee. And as you exhale, squeeze the left glute using the strength of the left glute and the left hamstring. Pull your left heel in towards your sit bones. If it doesn't come off of the ground, that's totally okay. We're just looking for engagement through the left leg and the left glute. Now, using either your strap or your hand, reach back with your left hand to grab the inside of your left foot. Push the foot into your hand or the strap and pull on your foot with the strap or your hand, spiraling the chest open for more of a heart opener. Without slingshotting, let go of the back foot, turn back towards the front of the room, plant the hands, and step back to high plank to meet your left foot. Drop the knees and lower down to the belly. You may want to move your blanket off to the side here for a moment. Lower all the way down to the belly and take a moment here in mini Shavasana. Now begin to prop yourself up on your forearms by placing your elbows underneath your shoulders, spreading the fingertips wide, coming into Sphinx pose. Press the pubic bone down into the mat, squeeze the glutes, press the tops of the feet down, and without actually moving, drag your elbow tips towards your hip bones to create more engagement, gazing in the direction your sternum is pointing. Lower all the way back down to your belly and sweep your arms back behind you so they're down by your sides. Rest the forehead down on the mat. Exhale all the breath out of your body. Inhale, lift everything up, squeeze the glutes. Locust pose. Reach the fingertips back towards your feet. Squeeze the legs in towards the midline. Point the toes. Keeping a long neck, gaze towards the front of your mat. Exhale, lower down. Bend both legs, reaching the heels towards your sit bones. Using either a strap or your hands, grab onto the outsides of your feet. If you're using hands, thumbs face down, hands on the outsides of your feet. Exhale the air to your body, allowing your forehead to come down to the mat. Inhale, lift everything up, pushing feet into hands and hands pulling on feet equally. Squeeze the knees towards one another. and lift the chest more. Inhale, lift a little higher, and exhale, lower everything down. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Again, if you would like to come to knees for this, you can replace your blanket and come back down to a tabletop position for our side plank variation. Wherever you are, inhale the left leg high, reaching the left heel towards the sit bones and opening the hip up towards the left side. If you're in downward facing dog, come to the height of the toes, rotate the foot back and down so that the toes are facing the left side of the mat. Or kickstand if you're on hands and knees and tabletop, and bring the shin perpendicular with the mat. Scoop the right shoulder onto the back body as you grip and push the mat away, tenting the left fingertips. Maybe you do so much so, lifting the hips and lengthening the tailbone, that you can pick up the left arm. Step the left foot behind your right leg, allowing the feet or legs to move to spiral the chest open for Wild Thing. Lift the hips high, push the ground away. Gaze back down on your right hand, coming out the way you came in, lifting the heel towards the sit bones and spiraling the hips closed, stepping the left foot all the way up to the outside of the left hand and lowering the back knee for a lizard. Stretch out through the right hip flexor here and have a moment. Walk yourself up to be propped up on your left knee. And using the strength of your right glute, pull your right heel in towards your sit bones. Reach back with your right hand, spiraling open towards the right side of your mat, and press your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot, allowing yourself to spiral open into a bit of a heart opener. Without slingshotting, let go of the back foot, place the hands down, step the foot back, tucking the toes for high plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, tilt forward, knees, chest, chin. Unfold here, tent the fingertips, pop the elbow tips up. Inhale, funky cobra. Exhale, coming down, plant the hands, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, come to the height of the toes, look forward. Exhale, bend the knees, step, hop, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, send the weight towards the heels, chair pose. Cactus the arms, bend one, bend two. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Awesome. I am personally feeling very heated up. So, we will come to lie down on the mat, and don't be fooled though, we're not gonna chill. We're going to go into our little bridge flow. So, warming up to wheel, we will go through a few bridge poses, and when we work our way up to wheel, if you want to stay and continue working in bridge, then you are more than welcome to do that as well. So come to lie down on your back, knees facing up towards the sky, soles of the feet planted. Feet are about hips width distance apart. Bring the arms to rest down by your sides. Oh, here you go. Take a block and place it between your thighs on the thinner setting, squeezing the block. As you inhale, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes, and raise your arms up above your head to come by your ears. Exhale, lower the hips down, bringing the arms back down by your sides. Inhale, lift the hips, fire down through the heels, puff up through the back of the heart slightly, raising the arms above head. Squeeze the block, exhale, lower down. Inhale the arms above the head, bringing the hips up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, bring the hips high, bring the arms above the head, lengthen the knees away from you, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, exhale, lower down, hands by sides. Continuing to squeeze the block between your legs, bring your hands to the outsides of your mat and grip the outsides of your mat, pulling it down and away from you slightly. Inhale, lift the hips high, fire down through the heels, puff up through the back of the heart, lift the hips more, and begin to walk the shoulder blades underneath the back body. Lengthen the knees away from you, squeeze the glutes, see if you can lift the hips any higher. Exhale, lower everything down, walking the shoulder blades out from underneath you. Now you can do the grip on the mat one more time, or there's an option when we go up this next time to interlace the hands underneath the back body. So choosing whichever you would like to do at this time. Inhale and lift the hips high, fire down through the heels, lengthen the knees away from you, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone. Walk the shoulders underneath the back body and interlace the fingers if that's what you're choosing to do today. Puff up through the back of the heart. And when you're ready to come down, walk the shoulder blades out from underneath and slowly lower the hips down to the ground. Awesome. So at this time, I will go through a demo for full wheel pose, and you are welcome to just watch. I'll let you know what our options are for props and modifications, and then we'll go through and play around a little bit together with wheel pose. So for wheel pose today, you can either do it on your mat, setting up like you would in a bridge pose, or you are also welcome to take 2 blocks and set them up against the molding of the wall on an angle. That way, if you'd like to put your wrists on the blocks rather than the floor, it will create more range of motion and take some pressure off of the wrists. Either way, our other options for props will be to either squeeze a block between the thighs, similar to how we were in our bridge flow, or the other option, which I will be demonstrating, is to loop a strap around the thighs above the knees, about hips width distance apart or slightly wider if that works better for you. You can play around with what feels best in your body. For today's purposes, we'll be using the method in wheel pose where we stop at the top of the head on the way up. The reason for this is to check in with where the bend is coming from. We worked a lot with bend 1 and 2 today. But if for some reason this does not work for you because you have neck problems or something like this, then you are totally okay to skip it. Do what's best for your body. All that said, please watch first. I will go ahead and demo, and then we will do it all together. Come to lie down, setting up like we were going to do another bridge pose. Inhale, lift the sacrum, lengthen the tailbone, lift the pubic bone, and ground down through the heels. Lift the hips high and walk the shoulder blades underneath the back body. Lengthen the knees away from you and fire down through the heels more. Bring the hands to replace the shoulders, fingertips spreading wide like little wildfires, spreading all across your mat. Hug the elbows in towards the midline. Puff up through the back of the heart more. Inhale, and taking a big exhale, come to the crown of the head. Roll slightly towards the forehead, puffing up more through the back of the heart. Take an inhale here. Exhale, push through the hands, fire down through the heels. Spread the fingertips wide, grip the mat. Play around with the weight distribution here, either sending the chest more through the biceps or lifting the hips high and sending the weight more into the legs. Let the head hang heavy, gazing behind you. Squeeze the glutes. As you lower, do so slowly, tucking the chin, skipping the crown of the head on the way down. And removing your prop. So, that's wheel pose, and we will go ahead and go through that together. So whichever props you would like, please set yourself up however you feel most comfortable practicing wheel pose today. Setting up like you're going to do another bridge pose, squeezing either the block between your legs or having the strap around your thighs. Hover the sacrum and lengthen the tailbone. Squeeze the glutes and lift the hips higher. Begin to walk the shoulder blades underneath as you lengthen the knees away from you. Puff up through the back of the heart and lift the hips high. If you're choosing to go into bridge pose, replace your shoulders with your hands and come to the crown of the head. If you're working in bridge pose, continue to lift the hips high and lengthen the tailbone as you send the knees away from you. Squeeze the glutes and fire down through the heels. When you're ready to come down, begin to walk the shoulders out from underneath you and slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. We'll go through this one more time, either continuing to work in bridge pose, or maybe you choose a different prop this time, maybe you go into wheel this time, totally up to you, but we will have one more opportunity to play around with our peak pose today. So, setting up for whatever it is you would like to go to today. Inhale, hover the sacrum, lengthen the tailbone, lift the hips high. Lengthen the knees away from you and fire down through the heels. Puff up more through the back of the heart as you begin to walk your shoulder blades underneath you. Engage your core by bringing the navel towards the spine as you squeeze the glutes and lift the hips more. Push down through the heels. Push down through the hands if you're working in wheel pose. And as you exhale to come down, slowly walk the shoulders out from underneath you. And remove your prop. Awesome. I hope that you enjoyed playing around with wheel pose for a bit and that you are able to connect in with your inner fire. Let's take a moment to lie down on the back body in constructed rest, allowing the soles of the feet to plant and the knees to knock in towards one another. As you rest here for a moment and return to your natural breath, consider your inner fire. Think about all of the energy you had to harness in order to work through that posture. Whether it was bridge pose or wheel pose, reflect on what it was you felt coming up for you. Bring your hands to your thighs and come onto the balls of the feet. Press your hands into your thighs and your thighs into your hands with equal pressure for a spinal reset. If you'd like a little more, and you can keep your back flat on the ground mostly, you can lift your shins, bringing them more parallel to the mat. Bring thighs to hands, hands to thighs, pressing into each other equally. Lower the feet if they were lifted. And scooch the hips slightly towards the left, allowing the knees to fall over towards the right, bringing the arms into a T. If it's comfortable, you can turn your head towards the opposite direction of your knees, and you can do as you choose with your legs, maybe keeping both of them bent, stacking the hips, or perhaps straightening the bottom leg. Feel yourself start to simmer down here as we come back to the natural breath after firing up and working so hard during class today. Inhale, lift the hips up, and maybe scooching the hips slightly towards the right, lower the knees towards the left side of the mat, maybe gazing towards the right. You're welcome to keep your gaze open here or allow the eyes to close. Again, allowing your legs to sit how they want to and keeping the upper back down towards the mat. Inhale, bring the knees back up towards center. Hug the knees in towards the chest, and then bring the soles of the feet to point up towards the sky, bringing the knees towards the armpits for happy baby. You can choose to grab the outer edges of the feet here, or bring your hands to the backs of your thighs, keeping the upper back on the mat. You may choose to straighten one leg and then the other, or perhaps rocking back and forth a bit, side to side, to get a little massage here. Not looking to go too deep in bending the legs, as we have done a lot of hip extension today. And when you're ready, release your legs. Allow your legs to extend out and slowly roll your way over towards your stomach. Coming to lie down on the stomach, prop yourself up slightly with your forearms coming to almost a light Sphinx pose. Thread your right arm under your left and reach it out towards the left side of your mat and face the palm up. At the same time, walk your right hand, weaving it over the left arm out towards, leave your left arm on top of your right, walking it out towards the right side of your mat and flipping it palm face up. You can rest your head down on your arm here, or if it's more comfortable, you can put a block or a blanket underneath your forehead. To make it a slightly more active posture, press the backs of your hands and your arms down into the mat slightly. And then exhale, letting it go. Slowly on weave, coming back up to your forearms. Weave the left arm underneath the right, walking it out towards the right side of your mat, flipping the hand palm face up, and weave your right arm over your left, walking it out towards the left side of your mat, flipping the hand palm face up. Again, you can rest your head down on your arms, or if it's more comfortable, you are welcome to put a block or a blanket under your head. Press the arms down into the mat for a more active stretch. And then exhale, let it go, coming into more of a passive stretch. Allowing the shoulder blades to separate and opening up through the back of the heart. If you're tilted towards one side or the other, simply back out a little bit and see if that creates a difference for you. Slowly unthread the arms and roll back over onto the back body. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat, knees pointing up towards the sky, as if you're going to set up for another bridge pose. Activate the feet, bringing them around, hips width distance apart. Take the arms by the sides and lift the hips. Coming into a low bridge. Come to the balls of the feet and create a shelf under your sacrum, either with your hands or you can put a block there instead if you would like. Walking the shoulder blades slightly underneath the back body. Extend one leg towards the sky, reaching the ball of the foot up towards the ceiling. As if someone were pulling up on the ball of your foot to create lightness, reach the other leg up to meet its partner, extending up towards the sky. Coming into a supported shoulder stand. Slowly lower down. And from here, bring the knees in towards the chest, curling up into a tight ball. Lift the head, neck, shoulders, squeeze really tight, and then let everything go, extending all the way out. You're welcome to choose a belly down Shavasana for this class if you would like, since we were really working on opening up the front body today. Or perhaps you would like a blanket roll or a bolster under your knees to give your low back a bit of a release. If you would like me to bring you a prop for under your knees, raise your hand. Otherwise, allow your breath to come back towards its natural state, and I will guide you out of Shavasana in just a few moments. Begin to deepen the breath and bring some awareness back into the body, perhaps wiggling the fingers and toes or rocking the head gently side to side. When you're ready, bend one knee and then the other, and roll over onto one side, pausing in fetal position, perhaps resting your head on your arm as a little pillow. As we pause here in fetal position, reflect back on the class and consider once again what your inner fire means to you and how you might carry the energy of your inner fire with you throughout the rest of your day or your week. Using one arm to prop yourself up, come up to a seat, either continuing to keep the eyes closed or opening through the external gaze if that's more comfortable for you. Bring your hands somewhere where you feel connected to self, and we'll close out class with one communal breath. Exhale, letting all the air out. Inhale deeply through the nose, sitting up tall, grounding down through the sit bones. And like you're blowing out a flame, exhale through the lips. Thank Thank you for joining me for today's Creative Vinyasa class.